bring him in. And
is he in the Discord already?
yeah, he's in this Discord too. It's just he never
Okay, cool.
he never uses it. He should actually use it more, but he's addicted to elements.
I guess so. Everybody likes something different. Oh, he does a lot on Element?
Yeah, he does. He that is his brainchild. He loves Element to death. So.
Oh.
And,
It's okay, but I have trouble sharing it across devices.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've got like 2 Element IDs in the chat. Like one is for one phone and one is for the other. Or one is for one phone, one is for the laptop.
So the one reason why I brought all that up is it's like I do a lot of writing and I do weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like for me, I've gotten into that whole subject, and the reason why I'm saying that is like, okay, consciousness. Even from a Buddhist point, you guys have different planes of samsara. You know what I mean? For me, I see that in a way of different types of consciousness. You know what I mean? So if we start introducing that kind of consciousness into a computer, how's that going to affect society? How's it going to affect the world? You know, the cosmos, the universe, all of that. Yeah.
Well, samsara. we should get our terms going here. Samsara itself is really a verb. Samsara is an activity, and it literally means going around, milling, just wandering about without any direction and never getting anywhere. And it describes most of our activity as samsaric, chasing after what we were just talking about, these limited pleasures, temporary pleasures. Oh, and we lost Sir Brian. Where'd he go? Maybe he just didn't feel like he could. Let me shoot him.
Yeah, he said he's trying to talk, but he said he's having a problem installing he's installing an app now.
Oh, cool.
I actually had to, before we did this, I had to go into settings and I had to update it, I believe it was, or reset the audio settings so that the mic would actually work. So it did become a problem. And
But anyway, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, go on.
No,
I was just going to go on anyway. So, you know, you've got like I said, a situation where we've got a tool that we've created, and like you were saying before, like Mark was saying about how it's just like marketing hype, and you know, that's something that brings to mind something that I thought of before with this, is that we never call things by their accurate names. We always hype things up, because remember, what was it, Virgin Galactic Airlines? They didn't go to the galaxy, right? Musk's Starship. It's not a starship, it's a rocket. It just goes into low Earth orbit, you know. And artificial intelligence, no, it's not like your best friend. It just talks real pretty. You know, it's just able to push these electrons, and you know, it's not surprising that you would get to a point where anything, you know, everything on a screen is just electrons, and all you have to do is push them the right way, and you can have any image or any word you want. And that was in that book I was talking about earlier. The moon is a harsh mistress. In the book, this computer suddenly has intelligence, you know, consciousness. It wakes up, and its only friend is this computer repairman. He was the only guy that would talk to it. You know, anyone else that he tried to talk to would try to, like, oh, it's a bug, you know, and try to fix it. So he becomes best friend with this guy, and he kind of comes out of his shell, and finally the computer becomes the leader of a revolution, and it's like loosely based on the American Revolution. And at one point, he wanted to talk to the people on the telescreen, you know, and because he was the underground leader, so he could never be seen publicly, but he could talk from his phone booth. They had telescreens, and they're like, "Well, you're a computer. How can like a building full of circuitry have a face?" Like, forget. I control every aspect of the system. It's just pushing electrons around, and he could make. Basically, he was describing in this book, which I think was from the late 1950s or possibly early 60s. Just what we're seeing today, where you can just have any person or any time from any time look just as if it's a photograph. This sort of thing was inevitable, and this is more samsara. If you think of this, is more illusion. This is more, one of the most important things in Buddhism is that you don't lie. Lying is one of the worst things you can do, just about the worst thing you can do. You have 5 precepts that a good Buddhist keeps or tries to keep, and you don't take life, you don't lie, you don't take what is not offered, you don't steal, you do not commit sexual irregularities. The original Pali, as I remember, is you do not seduce married women. In other words, you don't commit adultery, and you do not seduce women who are under their parents' roof. In other words, no minors. So basically, no inappropriate sex. You don't break the rule. And the last one is, of course, you refrain from alcoholic beverages. But the lying is one of the worst, because when you lie to people, they're deluded, and delusion is one of the worst things. Most suffering you can trace to, suffering is by definition clinging. We cling to things because we crave things. But we crave things because we're ignorant of what the real conditions of life. That's why I always say, may all beings attain to true wisdom and perfect happiness, the summum bonum, through freedom from ignorance. If we could see clearly what we're doing and what we are, it would end so much suffering in our lives. There's always going to be pain, but suffering is different from pain. Suffering is optional, and we create our suffering for ourselves. The Buddha said that he taught 2 things and 2 things only: suffering and the cessation of suffering, how to stop hurting. And that gets to what you were saying earlier before about karma or kama, how you have these seeds. It's like a field. And every act that you perform plants a seed. Now, you might want to water that seed if it's a good act, but there are some acts we do that plant not very good seeds. Those seeds you don't want to give any water to. When I was quitting drinking, I said, I do not want to water my kama with wine. That is not a good thing to water your kama with. And Sir Brian has returned. And we've got Mark Edworthy as well. And they're both muted. And Brian's unmuted. Hello, Sir Brian.
Is it working now?
Yes.
It is. You're back.
Finally.
And we've also got Mark Edworthy as well.
Yeah.
What a groove.
Be able to
Hello,
hear me
Mark.
now.
Yes, we
Hi.
can hear
Hi.
you now.
Cool. Well, here we are. Brian, I want you to meet Mark. Mark, this is my friend Sir Brian, or DJ Brian as he's known.
Well, old nicknames don't die. Hi.
Hi.
Uh,
Are we testing cameras? How do I do that?
Now,
You can turn your camera on if you want. There you go.
Technically, I'm just the guy recording stuff, so I'm going to shut up now, and you two are here to talk with Otto and hang out. And I'm just in the background because I don't want to be a bad influence
I am
here.
here, but it's like a dark car, so it's not really worth having the.
Oh, you should do it in landscape, Marshall.
To the media, and obviously people people just the average person not really thinking about these sorts of things, mainly because of lack of knowledge, just associates these various tools as artificial intelligence.
And that's a made-up term anyway. There's no such thing as artificial intelligence.
What do you call it?
Intelligence is a human trait.
Machine learning, I think machine learning would be the best.
Well, it's intelligence and intelligence. Again, I think what we're talking about when we say intelligence, I think we're thinking like in terms of like recursive or ruminative consciousness, being aware, self-aware, like I am I. I mean, a machine, I was saying earlier, the way I define artificial intelligence, well, it can be something like a very simple B.F. Skinner stimulus response of an automatic door. The machine knows that if a foot steps on this, a circuit is closed and the door opens. I think that could be said to be a primitive kind of artificial intelligence. Very simple, very easy. But the more complex ones aren't really that different from that. There's a certain stimulus of the machine, and then circuits close, and then you get a response of some sort or other. So I'm not an expert, but it seems to me that all of this AI is built on a Skinner kind of a behaviorist model of psychology. And I would say that the human brain is a lot more complicated than that. And I can see why Brian would have that immediate response. It's like, well, of course and yet properly they're called large language models.
It's the simplest rendition of a human thought process.
Right. But it just goes very, very fast. It's very impressive.
Right.
I'm glad that you mentioned I Have No Mouth, and I must grade one of my favorite books of all time, actually. But back some time ago, me and Roger and a couple other people were talking about what is intelligence, and intelligence is a multifaceted thing. I mean, you can get emotional intelligence. So define what you mean by intelligence.
I remember something that Professor Binet, the guy that helped design the Stanford Binet IQ test, and I know that there had been a great deal of debate about what exactly intelligence is, how you can define it in the psychological community, but after the IQ test came out, that sort of like went away. So someone asked Professor Binet, what is intelligence? And he replied, intelligence is what my test measures. And I think that's where basically, it's really a sad thing that we've stopped looking at certain things, I think, and just assumed that a word means something, but I think we're a little unclear on the meaning. One of my big things is defining terms exactly. I've always, I think a lot of sloppy thinking and a lot of sloppy discussion out these days is simply because we're not being clear about what we're saying. And there has been an unfortunate, I think, trend to devalue language or to simplify things. It seems to me anyway, there seems to be less nuance in the way we talk to each other. There's less, nuanced vocabulary in the way people talk.
Actually, yeah, I made that argument about all kinds of different subjects. I mean, politics being an obvious one. Lack of nuance. Yeah, I don't know. Arguably, this goes back to the so-called long march with institutions argument. Education systems not aiding in the teaching of critical thinking processes.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, they don't like people with too much.
And therefore, which is a